This terrifying tale is a true experience from Miss Noon, a former national youth athlete who traveled to a training camp only to encounter a horror that would haunt her for over a decade. It is a story of a place where the line between the living and the dead vanished, forcing her to bring this nightmare back to share with us. Let's travel back in time to around 2007, about 16 years ago. Back then, Miss Noon was still a high school student with an exceptional talent for karate-do. Her skills were so outstanding that she was selected to represent Thailand in an international competition. That year, Thailand was hosting the event, and the chosen venue for both the competition and the athletes' accommodation was in the province of Phuket. The journey began with the excitement of teenage athletes. A large bus carried everyone down south. However, during the trip, Miss Noon's body started sending strange signals. She began to suffer from a fever and a severe headache, her body growing weak for no apparent reason. She had to take medicine and sleep through the entire ride. It was as if her sixth sense was opening up, making her vulnerable to energies that are normally unseen. The closer she got to the destination, the heavier her condition became. When they arrived at the accommodation, the sight before them was a massive building. It looked like a giant indoor stadium or a gymnasium with a curved, inverted U-shaped roof. It was vast and desolate. The interior had been converted into a makeshift dormitory for athletes from various countries like Myanmar, Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia. The sleeping arrangements were not private rooms. Instead, the organizers used white partitions with wheels, the exact kind you see in hospitals to screen off patients, lined up to create zones for each country. The Thai team, which Miss Noon belonged to, was assigned the spot deepest inside the building, right against the solid back wall. The atmosphere in that corner was dim, gloomy, and far quieter than anywhere else. On the first night, exhaustion helped everyone sleep, but the abnormalities began to surface the very next morning. When practice time arrived, all the athletes woke up early to warm up outside. However, Miss Noon, still plagued by her fever, asked the coach for permission to stay behind and rest. She was left in the dormitory area with her close friend, Am. But soon after, Am had to leave to run an errand, leaving Miss Noon completely alone in the silence of that massive gymnasium. As the noise of the athletes faded away, a chilling emptiness took its place. Inside the vast hall, there was no air conditioning, only old ceiling fans spinning slowly, making a rhythmic creaking sound. Dim sunlight filtered through the barred windows, casting long, stretching shadows across the floor. While Miss Noon was lying on her side, facing the wall, trying to force herself to sleep, her eyes drifted to the gap at the bottom of the white partitions, which were raised slightly off the floor. Suddenly, a sight appeared through that gap that nearly stopped her heart. She saw feet. Not just one pair, but dozens of them. They were walking silently in a line. These feet were bare, pale, and caked in wet mud, looking as if they had no blood flowing through them. They walked slowly, but in perfect unison, heading toward the center aisle. In a moment of denial, she tried to think positively. Maybe it was athletes from other countries practicing quietly. But the doubt crept in. Why were they all barefoot? And why was their skin so deathly pale? Before her questions could be answered, the sound changed. The slow, rhythmic walking turned into the sound of running. Thud, thud, thud. The sound of bare feet slapping against the concrete floor echoed loudly, coming closer and closer from behind her. It sounded like a mob of people rushing back toward where she was sleeping. Annoyed and startled, thinking her friends were playing a prank, she gathered all her strength and ripped the partition curtain open, ready to yell at them to be quiet. The sound of the curtain wheels grinding against the floor echoed, and then silence. What awaited her was emptiness. The long walkway was completely deserted. There was no one there. No shadow of any living creature. A dead silence fell over the room the moment she opened the curtain. Only dust motes danced in the air. Miss Noon stood frozen in confusion, goosebumps rising all over her body. She slowly pulled the partition back